Wow, what a big car. Not really, it's only 4.5 meters long. So what's the fuss? Well, if you like large looking cars but can't be bothered fiddling around town with car parking or simply are unable to, or perhaps you just want to show off a little bit but you're a peasant like me, well, worry not, Hyundai comes to the rescue with Tucson. This is the N trim, and I usually do my introduction outside of the vehicle so that you get an idea of the size of the car, or as some would say, I like to swing my hips a bit. Really, please. But today the weather is a bit unfortunate, so we're just going to sit right here and take a short drive and see what the Tucson is all about. So M-Line in Hyundai means exactly what S-Line means in an Audi, for example. It is only down to the way the car looks both on the inside and on the outside, because it's got nothing to do with performance whatsoever. So today I've got the strongest engine available in Tucson, which is a 2-liter diesel, pumps 185 horsepower, 400 newton meters of torque, and it's not exactly bull coming at you kind of an engine, but it's got enough pulling power, and the throttle response is pretty good for majority of people. And after all, we've got 1.7 tons to pull, and 0 to 100 takes, well, forever and ever, or actually 9.5 seconds, which is plenty for most people. Probably not quick enough for a snob like me, but the good news is that the car is actually fairly quiet and civilized for a diesel.
I know the time does not stand.
The cabin is very pleasant, plenty of space, good quality of the materials and finishing, nice steering wheel, it's got a massive adjustment range. The same goes for the seats, which by the way are lovely for long distance cruising. The screen has got this thick bezel around it. I'm not a massive fan of it, but the system itself is very intuitive and functional, and this in today's world is not so obvious, especially with the increasing trend for having multi-screens. Here you actually have physical buttons, which of course are easier, quicker and safer to get to whilst you're driving versus fiddling with a touch screen. Overall, actually, I quite like this cabin. So this is a great daily driver. Easy, relaxing, stable. You've got a solid grip, classic 8-speed automatic transmission that is quick, that is smooth, just does the job, so you don't have to think about it at all. Now the suspension is on the firm side, and although you do not feel the major bumps and imperfections on the road, the suspension is clever enough so that the car actually keeps it together and doesn't lose a plot on a twisty road like this one. And if you feel particularly aggressive and you want to unleash an animal within you, you can pop it to sport, the car gets noisier, but you get a nice boost of energy and confidence. Anyway, we know tigers today, let's pop you back to normal mode. The steering is nice and light, it feels very natural in your hand. The car is relatively easy to maneuver, although the turning circle could have been improved tiny bit. The visibility is very good, no major blind spots. The rear window is big enough, although you always see this seatbelt dangling in there. Looks a bit like a cheap Christmas tree for peasants. What was that all about, Hyundai? Anyway, the fuel economy is very good because all I'm using is just over 8 liters. That is about 29 miles to the gallon in American terms. Well done, Hyundai, well done. Shall we do some off-roading? Do you really want to see a blonde, unsupervised, driving off-road with a Tucson? Methinks not. Although we've got a ground clearance of 18.5 centimeters, I recommend you let the curbs be your adventures so that you don't damage your bumper and you leave the 4x4 to be an extra protection in severe weather conditions such as rain or snow. Right, before we wrap up, let's talk money, honey. So the base price of Tucson in Switzerland is just under 33,000 Swiss francs. This is more or less an equivalent to the US dollar. The car I have with me today is worth a whopping 54k. I mean, really, Hyundai, didn't you just get carried away there slightly? I think you might have. You see, as much as I think Tucson's a great practical daily driver, you probably don't need the N trim. It's a nice thing to have, but do you really need it? Probably not. I recommend you get yourself the base model and use the rest to buy some diamonds. After all, diamonds are forever. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye!